running off no sleep and this being the fourth film of the day, yeah, being slow in the dark room doesn't help. Hello there, people of YouTube, and welcome to the Spikehead podcast for another movie review. Today we'll be talking about If Beale Street Could Talk. Directed by Barry Jenkins, starring KiKi, Layne, Stephan James, Regina King, and Colman Domingo. This story revolves around the relationship between Trish and Fonny, the latter of which who is sent to prison for a crime he did not commit. All the while, Tish is now pregnant with his kid. So the story revolves around her both struggling with the pregnancy and also trying to get him out of prison because he is innocent of this crime. Now this film was very much something I was looking forward to. I feel like it was going to be another one of those films that had something to say, and I really like these kinds of films. And it was a little different to how I imagined. I thought it was a completely different film, I'm not going to lie. But going into this is one of those films that had some buzz around it. There was a limited screening at my local theatre last night, and I've heard a lot about Regina King's performance in this. So is this actually a good film, or is this going to be another film that is going to be forgotten a few months down the line? Well, let's get right into it with some positives. For starters, the relationship between Tish and Fonny is very believable and very authentic, in my personal opinion. Their bond and their silent scenes together, while some people do not like these scenes, I feel like they were very powerful and very reflective on a real life relationship. The scene where Tish gives herself to Fonny for the first time is very long, very slow, and very awkward, but that is very true to life. There is also some fantastic cinematography in this. I mean, it's not the best in the world, but it is certainly up there with a lot of long, slow shots, some one takes, and it's just a very personal, enclosed setting when these families are talking together. The dialogue is very real, especially a little conversation between Fonny and a good friend of his about time behind bars in prison. That is a really slow, powerful scene, and the way they just jump between ironically laughing and joking about dark things and getting downright serious half the time. Jumping between the two felt very natural and very flowing altogether. And I also really like that Tish is guiding us through this sequence of events and telling us the backstory, and it really flows with how it's constantly cutting back and forth between timelines. There was also a very nice string quartet soundtrack, which is very good at leading us through this film, guiding us by the hand, because this film does have a steady pace, and the soundtrack is very important for dragging us through these sequences. And like I said previously, this film is a very personal and intimate film, and the soundtrack really does help with that aspect of the film. However, negative wise, I will say this much: this film is very, very slow, like snail pace slow, and nothing really happens in this film. You have the 3-act structure where each act is introduced by something bringing up the stakes a little bit, and that never really happens. There's something that happens towards the end that does up the stakes quite a bit, but in the grand scheme of things, this film doesn't really do much throughout its runtime that changes the game at all. It's a lot of just Tish guiding us through this narrative, cutting backwards and forwards between time. A lot of people are definitely going to be put off by the constant slow pace of this film, and going through some reviews as well, that has been one of the keyest complaints. Also, as much as I love the soundtrack, there are certain bits where it did remind me very much of LA Noire, and considering the two settings of LA Noire and the Beale Street Could Talk, there was a very big contrast between LA Noire and the Beale Street Could Talk, so I was taken out of the film every time that this sort of soundtrack did happen to come on screen. I think my one big complaint of the film is that nothing changes. It doesn't feel like we got any further from the start to the end. Usually when the film starts and when the film ends, there is massive character arcs that show a growth or a change in environment. But in this, it does feel like all the characters are in the same place and everyone's a little too perfect, which really does suck, as it does mean this snail pace doesn't really bring us to a big payoff. At least with other slow films like Space Odyssey or Unbreakable, these films were very slow, snail pace slow, but when everything does come to a head in the third act, it made it all worth it. This one really did lack that sense of oomph that a lot of slow films do need to become memorable. Performance-wise, Regina King is the one that's been nominated a lot in the Oscars and any other award ceremony with this. Personally, she is really good. She is really good, but She isn't quite as good as I expected from all the hype I kept hearing, and she played a very small role. There is one big scene towards the end that is nicely executed and well acted, but that is clearly there for the Oscar award showreel material, and it doesn't really add much to the overall story itself as nothing really changes. But Regina King is very good in this film. Lead actress KiKi Layne, she needs to be given more props for this performance because she is a shy, awkward girl. She's scared, she's terrified, but she is strong. I loved her character, I loved her performance. Yes, I can see why some elements of the performance were a bit one note, because she was just constantly shy and timid in both her in-person dialogue and her narration. But even so, I do like her fascination with her boyfriend, and I thought that was really well done. Stephan as well was also very good as Fonny. I really enjoyed his performance in this role. A standard, really good performance. He's a very nice guy in it. Doesn't really do anything bad or anything mad in it. Even when they're confronted by police officers, he isn't that hyper aggressive. It is very one note, but I do buy the chemistry between him and KiKi. I thought they worked very well together. Also, there is a small appearance from Dave Franco in this, and he is really good. I do love his investment into this couple. He loves just getting right into the scene. I enjoyed his moment. That was probably one of the highlights of the film for me, is the three of them just bouncing off each other. And the scene on the roof where they're asking why he's helping because they're both skint. He just says, look, it's because you're in love, man. That's literally it. And yeah, there are some genuine people out there, and I really enjoyed that aspect of his character. Overall, If Beale Street Could Talk is a very slow film, and for the average casual cinema going, that is not going to be good enough for them. For me personally, this film is perfectly fine. I thought we'd have more to say, but it doesn't really. And if it feels like it's in the exact same spot from start to finish. I did enjoy this film. There are some very good performances in it, a nice soundtrack, great relationship to head the film. I do agree, it's probably got as many awards as it does deserve. And overall, I would say that If Beale Street Could Talk is a film that needs more sugar. It should have been a bit better than I thought it was. That's where Cody Cromwell, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just there, right bang in the middle. And it's an enjoyable affair if you don't mind a slow burn. But anyway, have you all seen If Beale Street Could Talk? If you have, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Hit the brown subscribe button for more content over the time. And you want to see some of my old videos, they're listed here on the left hand side. Guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day. This is that Spikehead Podcast, signing off.